Hello, this is the Hiking Chef. Today we're going to make a Black Forest cake. I was a little dubious about doing this at first because my concern was that all it was a chocolate cake with some whipped cream. Sound pretty simple and maybe not too interesting. But in my first class that I had to make this in, chef said, this is what you're making. So I made it and it was amazing. The cherries really add something, and the whole thing together is so much more than the simple ingredients. So let's get started. First step is to actually cream together the butter and the sugar and a little bit of salt. So now I put that on the mixer, lock it in place, and we're going to do this at a medium speed. Okay, this is fairly nicely creamed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the flour and cocoa powder, some baking soda, some baking powder into the pan and mix this. And we're going to add in our milk as we go too. It's coming together nicely. Maybe another 3 minutes or so and we should have a really nice batter here. Just ready to add in the eggs. Alright, so we've got our batter mixed together here before the eggs. So you can see it looks like a nice smooth batter. Should punch it down with the spatula. Put it back on. Okay, and then give it another minute at the medium. Okay, and now we're going to add the eggs one at a time, 5 eggs. See if we can do them single-handedly. Yes! Get them well beaten in. Alright, and then just a small amount of vanilla. They call for 5 milliliters or 5 grams, so that's a tiny bit. The vanilla's not all that critical, so don't worry about that too much. We'll give it another minute or so, take it up a little bit more. That might be a little too much. Oh, it's looking beautiful. Nice and smooth, aerated. Should be perfect for producing beautiful devil's food cakes. All right, I think we're there. So, enough of making the mess. So there we have it. Beautiful devil's food cake batter. Now we're going to divide the batter into 2 greased pans. Total weight of the batter is 1,680 grams. So 840 per pound, or per pan. So we'll just put that in. Then we'll have very even pans, or sizes of cakes. That's 790 each. So we'll just shake it a bit to get evenly distributed. And into a preheated oven at 375 for 25 to 30 minutes. It'll depend on your climate. I'm in the desert in Arizona, so a little bit less here. And those cakes should be beautiful when they come out. Okay, the cakes have been in the oven now for 25 minutes. Let's see if they're ready for the next stage. So, take one out, and we're going to check this. It looks pretty nice. Well, they've certainly risen very nicely, so let's just see if they're done. We'll use a toothpick to check that out. Seems dry, so I think we're there. Yep, we don't want them too dry. Okay, so we're going to let those cool down for a little while. Put them on a cake cooling rack here when they cool just a little bit, so I don't get my hands burned. And then we're going to cut them, and then we're going to ice them and decorate further. All right, this is one of the trickiest stages of making these cakes. It's very easy to not get these even. So we're going to cut each cake in half. Some recipes even call for a third. This is a little hard in my mind. Key is have one of these bread knives, very thin. This one's a Victorinox, and I find these work very well. And they keep them absolutely level with the floor, so, or the countertop surface. So you carefully and slowly cut through, keeping it absolutely level, and we have a nicely sliced cake. So we'll do that with the other one. So the cakes are cut. Now we're at the stage of actually starting to turn them into something. So the first thing to do then is put your bottom on. Actually, I'll use this one. It's the one who lost the bits. There we go. Center it on the cake plate. And the nice thing about this plate is it's round, so it can easily turn. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to soak this in simple syrup. A 50-50 blend of water and sugar. And I did it by weight, using my trusty scale. So just soak that. We're going to do each layer that way, so I've got about 100 grams of water and 100 grams of the sugar. All right, so we've soaked that. Now we're going to put a thin layer of the cream on. Trying to get out all the chocolate bits because we don't want chocolate on the outside of our cake. We want it to look like a nice, beautiful white cake. Yeah, I think that's done that, so we'll just do that very thinly. And I've got a long spatula, very key if you're doing a lot of cakes. You need one of these long spreading spatulas to be able to do this properly. And I'll show you when we start to do the side how to get the sides as even as possible. Always tricky. So we're doing that. Get a nice little layer there. Most of the stuff off the beater now. Okay. Pretty level. Set that aside. And then we're going to get our pipette bag. So we're going to make a little lip with this. So we can hold the filling in. So we'll start with that. Squeeze it down. There we go. We'll make our lip. I'd like a little bigger nozzle, but I've had a hard time getting them here, and I'm in Tucson, and they seem to be hard to get, even on the internet, surprisingly. Okay, so we've got a nice little rim there, and now we're going to another spoon. We're going to put some of our cherry filling in. So this is just cherry pie filling bought from the store. Perfectly adequate for this sort of cake and called for in the recipe. A little bit of that. Spread it out to the corners. touch more. And on to the next layer. And now the fun starts. Right, so now we're going to put a topping layer on, and the goal now is to make this as flat and smooth as possible everywhere. Top, sides, everything. So the motion that my chef instructor suggested was like trying to land an airplane. So you kind of come in like that to try and smooth it down. So landing, landing. So that's a fairly good start. We'll come and fix it later on the final. Let's get the sides done now. So on the sides you just use your spatula and you just sort of put it along as carefully and try not to get too many chocolate bits in there, which is really tough. And the key here, again, from the instructors, is keep your spatula as vertical as possible. A good base to work with here. Okay, now with our piping we're going to do a few rosettes. 8 actually on the top. And maybe one in the middle. And then we're going to pipe around the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to do a repeat of our little rosettes. All right, and then we're going to decorate with some berries, some beautiful raspberries. We have great raspberries here, and blackberries. And that is our Black Forest cake. You can add other things like chocolate sprinkles or chocolate shredded stuff, but that is the Black Forest cake all ready to eat. Thank you very much. Please check our website, www.tucsonhike.com. Look under the food choice and you'll see this and the recipe to go with it. And we look forward to seeing you on our next cooking adventure.